Uh, we are now at day 12 of my hypersomnia diary. Um, was thinking about what to talk about tonight, and how to make that interesting still. Just a quick update. I woke up at a normal time this morning, sometime around I think 7:30. Didn't feel the urge to nap throughout the day. Was up and active, and right now it's 9:30 at night, and I feel like I'm getting to the point where I'm gonna start getting tired soon, and relax, and then obviously go to sleep. So just as an update, all in all, no sleep drunkenness today, or no grogginess, or anything that would make me feel like the Adderall wasn't working. Cool. So I thought about, since this isn't like a live forum, and I did see some comments, and my apologies for not being able to get back to those yet. I plan to answer those later tonight after I post this video. So I will. I should have incorporated them into this video. I'll do that next time. But I thought of just some questions that maybe people might want to know, or something, or sometimes people do ask these questions, but one of them I thought that I've never actually been asked is, how is dreaming for a person with hypersomnia? Do you dream more because you sleep more? Like, you don't always dream when you sleep, and sometimes you just don't remember those dreams. But when I do sleep and dream, like, how is that process for me? So before I even answer that, I'm going to bring in just a little bit of information about, factual information about the 4 stages of sleep. There's 4 stages. Stage 1 and stage 2 are a light, like a light sleep, non-REM phases. Stage 3 is also non-REM, but it is the deepest phase of the sleep, of your sleep. And you have like very like low brain waves, I think, at that point, and there's like delta waves happening, which is something cool to look up. Maybe we can talk about that at another time. So, and then the final phase is REM. So everyone's familiar with that one. That's the time that you dream. You don't always dream. You're not dreaming the whole time you're in REM. You don't always dream, from what I understand. But that is the time that you can dream, and that you will dream. So REM, for a normal, typical person, will not set in usually for at minimum 90 minutes. After 90 minutes of you being in the stages 1, 2, 3, then you can achieve REM. That's an interesting thing, because, and I'm not making this up, or I would never bullshit anything about this disorder, but when I go to sleep, when I do dream, a lot of times I will start to dream as I'm closing my eyes, like as I'm laying there in those first couple of minutes, I feel like I'm starting to dream already. What's interesting about that is it feels like at the same time that I'm falling, like I'm almost falling out of being awake and falling into a dream. And I've actually really come to enjoy that feeling. It's interesting, like, because I'll be laying there about to sleep, and all of a sudden I see visual images in my head, and like a dream will start, and then I'm like, oh, here we go. It feels like a ride starting, and then it's like I let go, and then I must suddenly be asleep or whatever, right? So what was I gonna say about that? Oh, well, I definitely love to. I mean, I enjoy it, and I don't fear it at all. Like, I don't fear that feeling, like, of falling or anything, because it is definitely like a very comfortable thing, and I love to sleep anyway. Like, I just have to love to sleep, I think, at this point. So I definitely like it, but staying on that note, I don't ever feel like, I'm dreaming just before I wake up or something like that, which is when people typically do. And, that's not to say that maybe since, for someone with, narcolepsy or hypersomnia, I think if you have, the long sleep phase, version of them, you're sleeping so much that you're actually, like, from what I can tell, your your sleep phases are they're chopped up, but you're getting more of them all in a day. So potentially, if I am sleeping 12 hours or something, I'm going to get more REM than a normal person would, I would think. And then that would leave me with the potential to be able to dream more. But I don't think, from what I can tell, everyone kind of dreams the same as me. I remember my dreams every now and then. They're usually pretty basic too. Like me not being tired. But so, yeah, I'm wondering if what's happening there, at least in terms of me and my hypersomnia, if I'm skipping those first 2 and 3 almost phases altogether, or if they're just accelerating right through them to get to the 4th one. Obviously I can't be skipping those phases. They're being repeated, or they're being just synced up somewhere else, or pushed and delayed, so that they'll occur somewhere else. But it's kind of like, it's interesting, and it kind of sheds light, at least I think, on my hypersomnia, because if I'm dreaming almost instantaneously when I'm going to sleep, that's a clear sign that my REM pattern is out of sync. Also interesting on this, the 3rd phase, which is the deep sleep phase, is also considered to be like your most deepest sleep. So if someone were to wake you up at this point, you would feel groggy and tired and kind of disoriented for like a little bit, until you came back. So that's what sleep drunkenness feels like. And that's interesting because, phases 1, 2, and 4 REM, if you get woken up in them, it's not as it's not as disorienting, and most times you'll feel like you weren't really sleeping at all, or you just dozed off, even if you had been asleep like, a lot longer. But getting woken up in the 3rd phase, it makes you feel extremely tired for a little while until you kind of, snap out of it. But maybe I'm always waking up in that 3rd phase instead of the REM phase. I don't know, but it seems kind of interesting in a way, because if you read up on the 3rd phase, that's what sleep drunkenness really feels like. So, let's see. So, next thing I want to say is, like, people have asked me before, what does drinking coffee or, caffeinated beverages do for you? Because for most people, it gives you a bit of a stimulant effect, and you get a little bit hyper or have some extra energy, things like that. It kind of does the same thing to me. I can't drink too many. Probably when I was younger, when I started feeling this, I would probably try to combat it by drinking extra coffees and things like that. And I can't drink too much of that, like no more than like 2 or 3 coffees in a day, because then the caffeine just makes me feel like not good, like in my body, like kind of sick a little bit and maybe jittery. And it's not keeping me awake. And that's the thing. I can drink a coffee and go right to sleep, or I can drink a coffee in the morning and be like, okay, cool, I got a coffee. Sometimes I'll drink a coffee and be like, oh, whoa, that has a lot of caffeine in it. Like I feel a little bit jittery, but really from caffeine, whether that's tea, coffee, soda, whatever, caffeine really just, it makes me jittery for the most part. Maybe there's a slight energy boost in there, but it's negligible at best, and it doesn't make me mentally alert at all. So using caffeine is it's more physically like making my body jitter and shake rather than giving me the proper chemicals in my brain to stay awake. So then I'll slide over to ginseng, energy pills, things with taurine and packed with B vitamins. It's kind of the same thing there. If it's an energy drink that has caffeine in it, then I can probably only drink one, and maybe I'll feel a little bit of extra alertness, but it's very short-lived, and it's not like, it doesn't feel like a genuine one, if that makes sense. It feels like a forced chemical kind of a thing where, and that's not for ginseng, but energy pills that are packed with those things. And I regularly take a B vitamin, probably as a placebo. I don't know. It's a vitamin, and it's one of the things that does help give you energy, so I'm just going to take it. It's like eating carrots and hoping your eyesight will never go bad, but whatever, I'm going to do that. Another kind of a strange thing that I found is, I don't know if you guys, let me see if I have any here. No, I don't think so. If you ever look at like little packs of like chewing gum, there's always this little like warning on it. It says like phenylneutronics warning: if you are sensitive to phenylalanine, do not consume this product. And phenylalanine I think is used as a sweetener in gum rather than sugar. And interestingly enough, phenylalanine is very similar or related in a process breakdown to phenylalanine, which is in the amine family, which is histamine, amphetamine, things like that, which are dopamine, which are part of the awake process there. So I don't know if this is due to just me being active in a sense, but I've noticed a couple times that if I were to like put a ton of pieces of gum in my mouth, maybe like 5 or 6, and chew them, I actually do start to feel awake for a little bit, similar to like an Adderall feeling. I mean, nowhere on the same level or whatever, or length of time, but I do feel like a bit of awakeness from it. So I'm wondering if somehow my body's using that chemical there, or again, that could be a placebo effect, and it could be because I'm chewing gum so much that it's keeping me awake. But I feel like I can notice. So so going to the other side, unless I absolutely, it's like a life and death thing, I absolutely refuse to take sedatives, barbiturates, or depressant, things that are depressants or downers or whatever they're called. And I'm speaking medically for sure. Again, I don't abuse drugs like that. If I have to take something like a sedative, like a Valium or something, I just, it's like the Benadryl thing. I just know that it's already going to make me groggy and tired for twice as long as I want to be or as I need to be. So I generally always try to refuse those types of things. When possible, for sure. If it's a medical emergency, then I guess you'd have to. On that note, I don't feel quite the same grogginess or debilitating feeling off of an opiate-based drug. They do slow me down, like, for sure, but not in the same way as those other ones do. So, but even that, I don't like to take opiates because, again, I don't like to ingest anything that's potentially going to slow me down, because I'm so afraid of not having that energy or that alertness. So let's see, lastly, since I got about 15 minutes almost here, I've asked myself this question, so that's why I put it here. Am I scared of not being able to react in an emergency situation? And I'm going to say no, I'm not scared. And for two reasons. If it's an emergency and people I love are in danger, or I'm in danger, or someone needs help, it's just instinctual, to react. It supersedes. It's coming from that fight or flight center of your brain, so it supersedes the need for sleep. And the reason it's likely able to do that is because it's pumping out like a lot of adrenaline or whatever. So, in an emergency situation, I'm not afraid of being able to keep up or, help people or do my part or whatever. But I've had to consider that before, like, oh, what happens if there's an emergency? Yeah, that's about it. So, again, I'm going to go through the questions, and actually, I'm going to. No, I'll respond to the questions in the videos tonight, and because I appreciate you posting them. And okay, I'll come up with something for tomorrow. I hope this was at least a bit more informative and interesting. So, thank you.